People everywhere are starting to listen to him. He's going on French, British, Italian, Japanese television.
This is the Wide World of Weingarten.
Hey guys, Wide World of Weingarten, episode 19. It is Tuesday, November 9th here. It's just about 11:15 in Los Angeles. There's college basketball tonight. There's some action and college football. I don't have any bets on any of that. I'm going to shop around for some NFL futures this afternoon for tomorrow's show. I don't know if you guys enjoyed Monday Night Football. I enjoyed the first half a lot more than the second half. I had the first half under. That worked out. There were a lot of interesting things in the game last night. A lot of people are upset over the late penalty on Cassis Marsh and with the referee bumping him and the taunting. And there were the announcers telling that story about Najee Harris that was totally made up. The Bears almost came back and won. It was an interesting game. But I don't know. I don't like it when they go into that turbo mode scoring late in the game. I was kind of happy I had the first half under. At least I won a little bit there. Nothing exciting, no first touchdown props or anything. But the MVP stuff, just to follow up on what's going on in the NFL MVP market. I still like Stafford at 8-1. I like Lamar Jackson at 10-1. I think both of those are better bets than Josh Allen at plus 350. I saw some stat, I think it was Football Outsiders, graded Josh Allen had the worst start of any quarterback in the NFL all season against the Jaguars. I'm not so sure about that. I mean, I watched Davis Mills play with my own eyes, so I don't know if I would say Josh Allen's been the worst or had the worst start of any quarterback, but I would knock him down for MVP significantly with that loss. And I mentioned I think the Patriots are live to make the playoffs and potentially win the division. They still have 2 games left against the Bills, so I think 350 on Allen's short. I think 350, 3.5-1 on Tom Brady. Bad price. He's had some duds. He's performed poorly in games they've lost. He's Tom Brady, but you just don't have to give him the MVP because he's Tom Brady. He gets to win at life. He gets to win the Super Bowl. You can give the MVP to somebody who actually deserves it. Kyler Murray, 7.5-1, missed last week, might miss this week. You can't win MVP if you miss 2 games. You can if you miss 1 game, I guess, but I don't really buy it. If he doesn't play this week, his campaign's over. Then there's Aaron Rodgers. I think the negativity surrounding his vaccination status will hurt him in the voting. So he's going to have to maybe not lose a game the rest of the season or something. Maybe Green Bay goes 16-1 and their only loss is that Jordan Love start on the road in KC. Then maybe he'll win MVP, but I doubt it. Let's see how the Packers play the next couple weeks, and there's also a possibility that he comes back from COVID and he's not as good. That does happen on occasion. Performance could be hindered by having COVID. Then there's Dak and Justin Herbert behind Aaron Rodgers. I don't like either of them at those odds. We saw Dak put up a dud this week. Wasn't impressed. Defensive Player of the Year market, Myles Garrett's been the favorite. He has some serious competition after last night's 3-sack performance by TJ Watt. I really think Steelers and Browns, only one of those teams is going to make the playoffs, so I'm not exactly sure who you give the Defensive Player of the Year to, but I would go with the guy on the team that goes to the playoffs over whoever has the most sacks on a non-playoff team. So I don't think Myles Garrett's a good bet still. I think there's a lot more value on Aaron Donald at 7.5-1. I've talked about him a lot. He's the best defensive player in the NFL at any position. And then Trevon Diggs is kind of dipped a little bit to 10-1. I think there's some value there. Not necessarily a ton of value, but I think he's been the best cornerback in the NFL. And, the lack of interceptions for 2 weeks is whatever. And he had a little bit of a rough game versus Denver. Gave up a long completion to Tim Patrick. Got caught giving up another big play in a cover 3 or something. But I don't think one bad defensive game is going to disqualify Trevon Diggs. Let's see what he does the next couple weeks. There's still value there. But the big news and what I'm going to mostly talk about today, and it's Tuesday, so it's a little bit of a slower day as opposed to later in the week where stuff picks up. But the big news is that MLB had a 2-hour award show to announce the finalists last night, and I didn't watch it because I refused to spend 2 hours watching MLB Network in November, but I did follow what was going on Twitter, and BetOnline put up odds on the finalists. And I know they're offshore and they could do things differently. Like, you're not going to see odds at DraftKings or FanDuel or anywhere. I'm not sure they're legally allowed to put up odds after the voting's done, but offshore could do whatever they want. And I don't love BetOnline. My reasons for not liking BetOnline have to do with it's mostly personal stuff with their PR people. Not worth getting into really, but it's a personal thing. They're not very nice people. It's not about them as a book or you know them paying or not paying. They're whatever. As far as offshores go, your money's as safe as it is as any other top tier offshore. But I'm not advocating them or promoting them. I'm just pointing out that they're the only place up with the odds, and I do happen to know the bookmaker who made these odds, so. I feel comfortable at least quoting them as what the market thinks. I'm using parentheses if you just saw me on the video, because the limits are like $100 or win $250. So these are by no way like circa limits or real limits, but it's what we got. So I'm going to talk about it. The MVP finalists for the AL, Ohtani and Guerrero, doesn't really matter. It's Ohtani's. We don't have to spend time on that. But the NL MVP, the 3 finalists are Bryce Harper, Juan Soto, Fernando Tatis, as expected. BetOnline opened the odds. Bryce Harper -110, Soto -110. I started tweeting about it, and Harper immediately moved to like -130, -150, -200. He's up to -250 a couple hours later. Soto's +165. I'm really not surprised there. I've had some arguments with some other people. I don't mean arguments because they're friendly, but there's a contingent of people that are convinced that Harper should be -1,000 or -500 or even higher. And I can't say I necessarily disagree, especially with the late season sentiment on how Harper performed and how Soto didn't necessarily perform. But I try to keep my eyes on the actual buzz I could see and read from beat writers and BBWAA members, and I think it's closer than people are going to give it credit for, but I'm not sure that's not me saying Soto's going to win. I'm just saying I think it's close, and Adam, the bookmaker who put up these numbers at BetOnline, thought enough of it based on his information to open at -110, -110. So that's cool, but the money has definitely drifted on Harper $100 at a time. So I'm not surprised. Like I said, my number would have been Harper -500, Soto +400, but I'm very much hoping that I'm wrong and that Soto's going to win. We're just going to have to wait till next week, and I don't know. I think there's a chance, but not a huge one. I'm not super optimistic about Soto, but I'm still happy to be holding 100-1. As far as Cy Young stuff, Robbie Ray is -1,500 for the AL. That's settled. In the NL, they opened Wheeler +140 as the favorite. Corbin Burns +170, second favorite. Max Scherzer third. I think he's 190 up to 200 now. This is another situation where I hope Adam the bookmaker is correct. I'm holding tickets on Burns at 30-1, on Wheeler, I don't even remember, 22, 30 something. A big odds on those two guys. Nothing on Scherzer. So I'm hoping the market's correct here. I think Scherzer, being on a wild card team, being traded midseason, not pitching 200 innings, I think all that stuff's going to hurt him with the voters. I hope it does. I hope I'm correct. That would be a nice little win. Rookie of the year, that's a big one for me. I could talk about Wander Franco every day on this podcast, but I promise I won't. He's a finalist, which means he got top 3 in votes. That could mean he's third place on every ballot. That could mean he's a mixture of first, second, and third place. It could mean he got 5 first place votes, or 7, or 14. I think 14 or 13 is the number he's going to need to win first place votes. I'm not sure he gets there, but the odds at BetOnline opened Randy Rosarena at -250. It's up 275. Franco is 2-1, hasn't moved. Luis Garcia moved 12-1 to 16-1. I think Luis Garcia is going to get a majority of third place votes. I could see him getting a smattering of higher votes, possibly even a couple first place votes, but I think that the first and second place votes are going to be split between Arozarena and Franco. I don't know how they're going to be split. Obviously, everyone thinks it's going to be Arozarena. I would prefer Franco. I have tickets on both of them, but Franco is like something like 10 times bigger, or even larger than that. It's exponentially larger. So I'm rooting for Franco. Franco was the most exciting player, the most exciting rookie I saw all season. There was no way that you could tell me that any day that Franco and Arozarena were in the lineup together, that Arozarena would be the better player, that the team was better with Franco on it, that the Rays were a legitimate team with Franco starting. They were not anything special early in the season when Arozarena was playing without Franco there. And I don't think Franco should be punished that the Rays held him back for service time manipulation. He played 70 games. He could have played 80. He could have played 90. He could have played 160 if the Rays weren't cheap. But he played 70, and he was the best player on the field for almost all 70 of those games. When it got time to the playoffs, you started seeing Jeff Passan. You started seeing the national writers talk about, is he the best player on the Rays? Is he a top 25 player in baseball? He is a legitimate superstar with a superstar ceiling. And, the Rookie of the Year is an award for the player with the best potential who's made the biggest impact. It's not the award like the MVP for the guy with the best stats. It's not the award for the rookie with the best stats. It's just clear to me as a guy who watches more baseball than most people, but not as much as I used to, Wander Franco was the best rookie in baseball this year. I expect it's going to be close. I hope next Monday we have a winner, and next Tuesday's show is just me celebrating. But we're going to have to wait. MLB is dragging this out literally as long as they possibly can, so we won't know till next Monday afternoon. Then in the NL, Jonathan India -2,500 for the NL Rookie of the Year. Trevor Rogers is the other contender there. He's like 7.5 to 1. I don't think he pitched enough innings. I truly don't. I think he had a really good shot and he fell off late. He had some family problems, some COVID stuff. The Marlins weren't necessarily going to push him anyway, so that's the end of that for Rogers. I think India's got that locked up, and so my big markets are the NL Cy Young, the AL Rookie of the Year, and NL MVP. I'm hoping I could win 2 out of 3 of those. 3 out of 3 would really push me over the edge of great season kind of stuff. But 2 of 3 would be happy. 1 of 3, I'd be disappointed. 0 of 3 would just be a bummer. And then obviously there's Ohtani, but I wouldn't be surprised if I go 3 of 3 in those markets, or if I go 0 of 3. So whatever happens. At this point, the votes are already in. I'm just kind of waiting. But yeah, that's what's going on with the baseball stuff right now. We probably won't talk about it much more this week unless I see the odds move. But speaking of the odds move, last year, and remember these limits, they're like maybe going to be $500 limits by the end of the week. But obviously something leaked last year in the betting stuff, because Trevor Bauer went to like -1,000 or minus a couple thousand at BetOnline. And it was not a guarantee. I was not even confident going into the day of voting that Trevor Bauer was going to win, and I had a ticket on him at like 35 to 1 or 40 to 1 or something. So that was exciting, but you really just never know. There's always going to be upsets, and the way baseball voters vote is not necessarily the way we fans on Twitter discuss baseball, so it's always interesting. And like I said, we'll just have to wait till next week to really go through what's going on there. As far as other baseball stuff, players are getting qualifying offers right now, and there's some stuff you could see. The A's are committed to cutting their payroll. They're going to trade some of their starting pitchers. They're probably going to trade Matt Olson. It's really a shame. They're not even competing. I think if you look at 1995 salary cap levels, they're not even competing at the level teams were investing their cash in baseball, their players in 1995. So it's really sad to see that, but they seem like they're a team that's clearly on the move to Las Vegas in the not so distant future. But yeah, free agency will get underway soon. We'll talk about baseball. I still have that stack of baseball cards sitting behind me that they'll probably start opening next week, right after the awards get done, or maybe during the awards. I don't know. I'm just haven't been in a hurry for the baseball card stuff lately. The baseball card market has been slightly depressed, I would say. For the last couple months, it's been there's been all sorts of stuff going on. PWCC, the big auction house, was kicked off Twitter. They started their own thing. You could see prices have been somewhat illiquid on bigger stuff on Twitter or on eBay, for example. I listed some Yordan Alvarez cards during the World Series, some PSA 10 autograph stuff. Got nothing at the high price points that I thought I would potentially get stuff. And surprisingly, the action on it, the offers, the people emailing me was very minimal. But some of that had to do with the horrendous World Series that Yordan Alvarez had. His cards weren't hot. It's always sort of just an issue of finding the hot stuff and selling the hot stuff and turning over inventory. If you're holding on to cards, you're just speculating that somebody else will eventually pay a higher price for something than you did. And I don't necessarily think you're going to be wrong on that sometimes, but I do think, the difference between, speculating and being a good card seller or trader is knowing what you're getting into and how long you want to hold it. And, I have a stack now of Yordan Alvarez cards behind me. I think they're right there. You can see me pointing at a couple of them. I thought I would have moved them by now at a reasonable price, but looks like I'm going to have to list them at a lower price. And I won't take a huge loss or anything, but it's important to know the difference between speculating and investing. And if you're going to speculate, sometimes you're going to buy something and you're not going to get the return on it that you expected. So we'll talk more about baseball cards when the off season gets more underway. I haven't been doing any winter league stuff. Had some nice big prop bets, like 40-1, 50-1 win last week. So winter league will just have to wait. I did see Robinson Cano is joining the Estrellas Orientales, which is Fernando Tatis's team, or was. He's not playing this year. Then there's some big news in the golf world today. The European Tour is rebranding to the DP World Tour. That's Dubai World Ports, the company sponsoring it. All the tournaments are going to have minimum prize pool of at least $2 million. And there's going to be new events in the UAE, Japan, South Africa, Belgium. And there's going to be more co-sanctioning with the PGA like they did with the Scottish Open last year. This is definitely to combat the increased competition from the new Saudi-backed Super Golf League or Golf Super Premier League, Premier Golf League, whatever you want to call it. Anything that means more golf tournaments is good for betting. There's all sorts of other issues with the politics of these leagues and sanctioning and all that stuff that really is just beyond me, and I don't care that much. I just hope there's golf tournaments with betting every week, and with this new PGA with the Euro Tour, which now the DP World Tour schedule, and the PGA schedule, we have tournaments basically every week. Every week, that January to whenever. There's stuff going on every week, multiple tournaments. We'll have Euro Tour going, or the DP World Tour. We'll have PGA. We'll have Champions, Corn Ferry. Hopefully, there's more sites offering Corn Ferry betting this year. There's just so much stuff going on in golf to bet on a weekly basis. It's gonna be great, and we'll get into more of that as the swing season sort of ends and they get the new season stuff underway. Yeah, they're, like I mentioned, they're finishing up in Dubai the next couple weeks, the end of this European tour schedule before it becomes the DP World Tour. My only bet so far this week on the Euro event in Dubai is Dean Burmeister. I mentioned that yesterday. I bet him at 30-1 or 33-1. Those were what the numbers seemed. I don't remember which one. They're about the same. Either way, but he won on the Sunshine Tour, the Players Championship in South Africa last week. I'm hoping his form carries over to Dubai. A lot of the South African players play well on these desert courses. And he just happens to look like he's in good form right now. So that's my golf bet. We'll do some more futures stuff tomorrow on NFL. I got to go shop the markets. I'm waiting for Circa to go up. But Lamar Jackson, I think Lamar Jackson is 10-1, too high. I think we're going to see that drop. He's one of the best players in football. He does not get no respect. He's an MVP 2 years ago. I think there's a weird thing too with stuff that happened in 2019, like Juan Soto, for example. The Nationals won the World Series. Juan Soto was one of the best players in baseball. People just kind of don't remember it because of all the stuff that happened right after. In the months after the World Series, the world got crazy. Sort of the Astros were real hated for a minute, and then no one cared anymore. There's too much COVID stuff going on. There's a lot of stuff like that. We kind of forgot a lot of the great stuff that athletes did in 2019, and now it's kind of like, what have you done for me lately? And Lamar Jackson, I think, is sort of being hurt by some of that. We don't remember how truly great his 2019 season is, and I think with half a season left, we're going to see his odds drop as the Ravens continue to play better. Their problems are mostly on defense, not offense. So yeah, Lamar Jackson 10-1. I bet some more of that this week, and I'll be back tomorrow with more bets, more stuff. Like there's always going to be stuff going on, like the golf news today. There's just always going to be new stuff to talk about, and we'll talk about it. So thank you for listening.